Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the last podcast episode of Fantasy Couch Podcast. My name is Hussein the Brain. We're joined with Mike Mattal, co-founder of Fantasy Couch. It's been 15 years. And of course, we're joined with Dynasty Day Trader, aka the Tight End Shaman, aka, or as I call him, as we call him, just Hussein. What's up, everybody? What's going on,
How
guys?
we doing? Can't wait for this. It's gonna be
end of an era.
Yeah. You've been saying it all week, but it's finally here. It's finally here.
You can say it a couple more times because we're gonna be uploading a couple videos to the main channel as a final. Goodbye.
Wow, yeah. 15 years. Crazy. Yeah. I still remember starting it in college. And it seems like yesterday, but 15 years later, here we are.
Well, yeah. Some people ask me on the live stream, so that's going to be the intro. I'm going to try to sum up my life, at least kind of my professional life. Let's try to do this in under 2 minutes. So it'll be a proper intro. So I've always been an entrepreneur since I was 13. I don't even want to say failure, like didn't make $1 million, sometimes didn't even make $1, but I learned a lot by doing a lot of stuff. So when I was 13, the first thing I did was sell lyrics. I used to print out lyrics and sell them at school. And then I started the biggest game crack website, which was a way to copy your games legally, not bootleg, but people could use it for that too. And I did that at 15. Game Chamber, yeah, Lyrics Incorporate, Lyrics Inc., and then Game Chamber at 15. Now that site looked dope, actually. Lyrics Inc. was horrible, but I was 13. Game Chamber looked dope, like it was so cool. And then I started This Face when I was around 18, 19. It blew up. We got like 1 million hits in 1 year. Like it was crazy. I had people calling me. I completely blew the opportunity to make $1 off that, but you live and you learn. And then that died really fast. It was like the hyphy movement, this and that. So doing that, right, I learned how to make websites. And then I made a lot of people's MySpace pages. And I got into music. So I was rapping, I was producing music. And then I switched. I went to college just because, like, hey, my parents wanted me to do that. I went to college, business major. Then I switched over to, like, it was just terrible. I switched over to video, and then a light switch like went off. Like it just was totally like night and day. Like I actually wanted to learn. I was looking at green screen. So now I became a film student. I learned a lot. And now from doing music, I did music videos. And like every time I jumped in, like I noticed that the pond was too big. Like there's just too many people trying to eat like a small like reward, or whatever, like a small little, whatever the food chain is money, So I switched over and just I keep switching, right? So I started doing this and then that. And then I got an opportunity to work for the school paper. Coincidentally, Sacramento State was like the biggest, best college newspaper in the nation, or top 5. It was always top 30, that's for sure. So however you want to put it, the fourth best, some would say the best. Switched over there, became an online editor. And that's when I got Mike over there. And Mike and I would do this show called Fantasy Fix, which was freaking awesome. It was so silly.
Ahead of its time.
Hilarious. Yeah, it really was. Like it would actually get views because who was uploading fantasy football videos? Like 2 or 3 channels total was doing it. And for sure, Hattie Waiver Wire Guru. And maybe a third person was doing something. Then later on was like the hot tub fantasy. Like they get like, you remember that about the hot tub with the girls? That's so cringe. Like I was like, he couldn't keep that up.
There was less than 5, like for sure.
Oh no, we're talking 2.5, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah, like it was including us. Like there was nobody, it was getting views. And then once we kind of got out of college, we decided to start Fantasy Couch. We're like, why stop? Why stop with the paper? Like we can take the show on the road and make it our own entity. With basically no money. I got a hand-me-down couch from some people we went to school with. I took a picture of that. It's the couch right behind here, made that a logo. We got the domain name off GoDaddy for $10 or $5. What it probably back then was $5 actually. And then we just, we kept going from there. And I was always hustling and doing side projects. I do commercials. One time, the biggest thing I really dipped into was doing wedding videos for the money. I hated it. Like, I don't like going out. I don't like weddings. I don't like people. I mean, it's like I just did it for the money because you can make a lot of money. And it was just a crazy like experience. I filmed some celebrities' cousin's wedding, and I just had a horrible experience with it. And that's when I knew like I had to stop. And around that time, roughly around that time, Mike, you were like just starting to sell servers, huh? Right around then. You were at Nimble then.
Yeah.
You're at Nimble. So, and then you moved over. So Mike became a salesman. You were doing a lot of social media, not really any like prominent job. It was just like, yeah, we're okay. And then you really got into sales, and that's like, okay, I can make some money. And he got me involved in that a little bit, that world a little bit. And now that AI blew up, that's what I'm doing right now. Some stuff I accomplished. I got to work with my idols as artists. People said they could never be done. People said I'm a special ed guy, like, you can't, use certain language, but you get what I'm saying. People said I was slow. People said I couldn't do it. I ended up working with the idols that I grew up listening to. I work with Baby Bash. I work with Mac Dre. I work with all these guys. Mike, I got Mike in a 49er video. Finally, one music video, one song went, I'm going to say viral. You got 1 million people banning the song. I'm going to say viral. Got 100,000 views on YouTube, maybe 800,000 plus 900,000 on Facebook. Played at all the bars and stuff. And I worked with, my friend Jamizi, rest in peace. A lot of stuff happened. And then with Fantasy Couch, we did one video a week. It was fun. I did 2 videos a week. That was awesome. And then people started doing more, and like there wasn't any more 3 guys doing fantasy videos anymore. Now there's like 3,000 people doing them, and it's crazy. And so now, like, what do I got to do to, like, I'm the top 7, I'm a top 5, top 7 guy in the fantasy game right now. So I got to make more videos. So I got to making about 7-8 videos a week. If you count the podcast clips, that's 8 videos a week. And it's not for me. Like, it's just too much. I'm not like that type of guy that I want to be on camera that often. Once a week, twice a week is nothing. But doing the waiver videos, doing hack my lineup, the rankings, doing the podcast clips, the Friday Patreon streams, DFS videos, and beat the brain, doing all that was like, it just became too much. And then, people were grinding harder, the top guy. So, now I'm like top 10, and now I'm maybe not even the top 10 guy, and people are grinding too much. And I decided to cut back just so I can live, like, so I can make it through these last 3 years. And then the numbers started going down, and like, I'm like, man, this is just insane. And I got more opportunities. So at the parallel, AI exploded. Everyone knows AI now. So there's a lot of money here in the AI space. So thankfully, I'm in that space, and Mike got me on there. I would say I was a mentor to Mike. I mean, in life, maybe a little bit, but mostly like, Mike, like, this is how you act. This is how you got to work. This is how you got to do work ethic. This is how you do video. This is my vision. He always did it Me and Mike, I had Mike do 100 takes in one. No one sees that stuff. 100 takes in one night with me screaming at him the whole night. He wasn't happy, but he just did it the whole night. Like he just 4 a.m. to we got it 100 takes. Sometimes it's only a few takes, but sometimes we hit 100 takes in one night. And I was a mentor to him like that, as far as how you're gonna do this. And now he's sort of mentoring me because I have no knowledge with the tech industry. I'm a nerd and stuff, but this is different, right? This is top level stuff, business to business, top level stuff, people buying 100 million, $1 billion worth of servers. Like, so he's kind of mentoring me now. And it's fine. Like, I love it. I'm more happy now. Which was very surprising. Like, letting go of this was hard. I care about all you guys. I care about the fan. I think everyone knows that. And that's why it's so hard. Like, every time I upload a video, like, it takes a piece out of me. Every time I post a piece of content, like, I worry so much. Like, I want it to be good. And I know it's always going to fall short. And, here we are. Yeah, I think that's basically it. Did I miss anything? I think I summed it up.
I was gonna say, how does it feel to like not have to worry about doing all these videos? Are you just like way happier?
It's great. So for a while, of course, I was bitter. Like, I'm a competitive guy, so I seen these guys pass me, and I'm like, F these guys, screw them. And I slowly that now that's totally gone. I'm not bitter anymore. And as my bitterness went down, I still had some bitterness in me, some hater in my blood. I was like, dude, in order to do this YouTube game, you have to be a narcissist. You have to be a psychopath. You have to be number one. Like, you just have to have that thing. You have to kind of be a scammer in a way, like, hey, give me money, pay me, like, support me. You have to be a good actor. You have to lie. And I think that's actually a good trait. And I think a lot of the top YouTubers like Jake Paul and Logan, like, they have that trait. Like, they're like, I'm not that guy. Like, I can't. But it's not required. There's a lot of YouTubers, maybe it's the majority or something. There's a lot of YouTubers, social media influence, that are not like that. They're just total nice guys, but they have the passion and drive, and they love making it. For me, every time I made a piece of content, it was like I poured out blood. It was it wasn't me. Like, it was too hard to do. It's like way out of my comfort zone. I'd rather just be on the computer chilling, no camera, no content all the time. So that's why I feel so good now. Like, I don't have to do that as much. It's way less stressful. Yeah, but like I said, Lewis, it's not, you can't generalize a million. There's literally like over 1 million influencers out there. You can't generalize them. I used to think like you have to have that gene. I'm like, I don't have that gene, but it is a prominent gene amongst these guys. Like, I see a lot of them, whether it's 50%, 70%, they have that gene, but there's a lot of them that are not psychopaths. They got comfortable doing that. They love doing that. And, props to them. I didn't want to take on a lot of sports. The sports betting thing became legal in the Supreme Court. I didn't want to do a lot of sports betting ads. I just found it kind of unethical. It's probably like the worst addiction in the world. I never looked up the stats, but I hear a lot of stuff about it. It causes a lot of death, ruins a lot of families. It's one of the worst addictions. I think could be the worst addiction out of all of them. So I didn't want to do too many sports, like gambling promotion. I know I've done stuff similar to that, don't get me wrong, but I made it like, I decided like 2 years ago, like, you know what, I don't want to really promote sports gambling, even though now it's Supreme Court's legal. I was like, I don't really want to do DFS all the time. That I did DFS as another full-time job as a competitor and like giving advice. And so like the money started to fade a little bit. It wasn't really worth it. And yeah, now it's great. I also, doing football, so got to, I work with legendary artists that I looked up to. Also got to work with John Madden. I took Mike out there, 2 or 3 times. Mike got to meet Madden, Mooch, take pictures with them. We got to meet all those Niner players. Like, it was crazy. Like, so I mean, no regret it. And this is where I want to tie it all to. This is the big picture. Through all my failures or quote unquote failures. Like, what am I going to say? I failed as a company and when I was 13 selling lyrics. I don't know. I just did that because I wanted to do it. Like, I didn't like, oh, I'm going to be like a millionaire doing this. I don't see it as failures, but things that never continue. I always learned from everything. Even when I was 13, I learned how to price stuff. 15, I learned that, okay, the laws might change. And my website all my links got shut down by the FBI. Not directly my website, but the FBI shut down everything. You got to look, laws change. And now we're in the fantasy industry. You guys know all these laws. Louise is in Arizona. So, when you try to play fantasy football, it'll be like, oh, I can't play. I'm in Arizona. Like, Arizona, where you can have bazookas, grenade launchers, but you can't play on drafters. It's like the craziest thing. Darnell Dockett went to practice with I think it was a grenade launcher in his car. I accidentally forgot it. So it was like, it's crazy when he played for the Cardinals a long time ago. So I learn everything you do, you learn. And, if this even is an advice thing, which really not, I'm just kind of answering questions and telling about my life. But if you want to take something away from this, Mark Cuban praised this a lot back in the days, like work, learn, and then use that skill, leverage it, pivot off of it, grow, and then do it again. Learn on the next job or your next project, grow, and then keep learning and use your skills. So now, like, I'm in the AI company. Like, what skills have I learned to do? Well, I know how to do social media. So I'm running social media. Mike's running social media right now. Me and Mike are running social media for various companies, and they're making bank right now. We're doing marketing. I'm doing voiceovers. I'm doing videos. I'm uploading to YouTube still, on other accounts. I learned all this. I'm selecting what music to play on the videos. I'm doing graphics. I'm giving my input. I'm working on PowerPoint. So like everything I've done, like I've learned, and then I use it for the next thing. So yeah, that's about it. Any questions before we move on to the 2024 NFL draft?
I was gonna say Aiden Ross just retired from streaming, so.
Well, he's a POS. He's a horrible person if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, but he was at the top. I mean, him and Kai.
Huge.
Yeah,
There's
so for him to retire right now is like, it's crazy.
Oh, that's another weird. That's just a quince. Like, that's such a weird. A lot of people are retiring right now. We're taking a break.
Because I think
PewDiePie
it's too much. Like, you can't put out that much content like that often and not get burnt out, I think is my point.
Yeah, that's a strong trend. Yeah, and that's you know what? That's a good point you bring up, because like I said, when it became 8 videos a week, like it's not just me who's got to do it. It's all these other guys. They have to put out more content. Like, oh, what's your Twitter? What's your Instagram? Are you uploading? Are you going live? Like, it's crazy. Yeah, a lot of people are taking a break, scaling down, or quitting YouTube at the moment. Did your channel take a hit after TikTok went big? Yeah, it was at that time, but it's not directly TikTok though either. My TikTok also blew up. I just uploaded a few TikToks. Like, I didn't do much. It went from like 300 followers to 6,000 overnight. And wow. By the way, that accomplishes nothing. By the way, TikTok numbers mean nothing. Like, it's crazy. Like, it mean nothing unless like 10 million. Yeah, you're good. Or 1 million. Like, that's great. But like, yeah, getting that just means nothing. So, yeah.
I think it's mostly due to the market. It's just gotten so much bigger with way more competition. There's like when I Google or when I search on YouTube for like dynasty videos, there's like hundreds of people producing content now. So I mean, we started it, but it's crazy like how it's actually like blown up to where there's so many people in the space now.
Yeah, and if we can take some kind of credit, we're the first basically like going hard. We're the first independent or social media or influencer fantasy football people. Like basically, yeah, we're the first. Like Hattie Waiver Wire Guru was there. He was uploading like a waiver wire video. Like we did the whole shebang. We did the website. We did the instant first on. We haven't started a MySpace Facebook page. We had an app. Like we went hard.
I remember that.
I almost forgot that. Yeah, way too hard to keep up. By the way, for someone like me. Yeah, we're the trailblazers, and that's okay. There's going to be a few people in this industry who can make a good living off of it. It's going to be a small amount, whatever. It might be like 20 influencers in this niche, this fantasy football niche, independent, that are going to make a good living. And that's cool. But we trailblaze it, man. Filmed the very first draft video. We filmed the very first draft party.
That's true.
Yeah, and now
still the best draft videos.
Now I can't even find my video when I search for it, and it's all a bunch of dudes doing the same thing, and it's like, whatever, bro. We trailblaze it. People told me, like, people secretly told me, hey, like like your videos influence me, and like it's all good. So
you're welcome, everyone.
Yeah, it's been a crazy ride, man, and it's cool. 15 years. I gave it my all. I gave it 100%, and I basically decided to quit last year. But after talking a lot to people and thinking about it, I decided to do one last send off year. Right, Kobe. I remember Kobe Bryant's farewell tour. Was that the right phrase?
Yeah,
it was awesome, and I know, like, I'm not saying people care like that, but I wanted to do that for myself and the people, not like farewell, like everybody love me, everybody look at me, but like for me to part and for me to say goodbye to everybody, for me to feel good, and for you guys, I want to do it for you guys, instead of to just stop abruptly and be like, nah, I don't care, man, I'm out, like whatever, I'm gonna live my life. I never cared about y'all. I think actions speak louder than words. Couch won me a lot of money in DFS. Thank you. Yeah, I had to quit DFS too. I totally quit because I was winning. We were winning, but it's a full-time job, dude. So I said this a bunch of times. I'll say it again. Like one day, in a day, I'd lose $3,500. That's not rare. In a week, it wasn't rare to lose 7,000. I'm talking like net too, like not, you guys know what I'm like actually lose, like put in 20 G's and lose 27 G's.
Yeah, right,
like that in a week. And then after you put in all those hours every day, you put in 2 to 4, sometimes 8 hours every day to play DFS, and then you lose 7,000. And then like I win a $6,000 tournament and I'm like, what is like, this is like insane stress. What am I doing this for? I want to give people advice, but it's like, and those videos at the least views. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna quit playing, dude. Like this is crazy. Like it was insane. And trust me, like I promise you, I was making a profit off DFS. Like it was not worth it. Like it was totally not worth it. Thankfully I was able to take down some big tournaments. Like if it wasn't for that, there's no way to recover the 7 G's I just lost. Like other than winning first place, it was just impossible. You've always been the best fantasy football provider, man. Thank you, Val. We talked on Twitter briefly. I appreciate you, brother. Louise, yeah, one of the Facebook group OGs for sure. What's up, Richard? Hack My Lineup was fun. Yeah, Hack My Lineup was most legendary live stream.
No one's ever done that. I don't think anyone's even done that still.
See, that's something people it's essentially that people do right. They do more like it's more like a pre-planned, huh? Like it's the same thing, but not all the way live.
Not on the fly. Yeah. Right. People aren't.
No one would trust someone with their password. Like
that's live too. Like if I screw up off with your password off air, like that's just me. Like if I might do so, but I can just make a mistake live and bloop, like your password's everywhere. Just on that, like not me doing it on purpose, like so.
Right.
Which has happened once. So we had crazy moments on Hack My Lineup. We had we made a lot of logos. We had that racist guy I hacked. That was insane, dude. He was in a league like super and trust me, guys, I've been online, so you see racism everywhere. Like it's usually the edgy teenage racism. This was like Nazi racism. I was like, bro forgot he was a Nazi. It's like, just like, hey, can you hack
exactly
me?
what it was.
He's like, oh crap, it's a 10 Nazi league.
My God.
He really forgot, like, because his Nazi every day, bro. It's like it's every day he lived that life, so he just forgot. To him, it's normal. I was like, bro, I can't hack this. Good riddance. I let that guy's password leak. Somebody logged in, dropped all his players right away. Other huge moment was that one guy who freaked out. What was the saying? Bob loved that. He wanted me to make a t-shirt. What was the saying, Sushane? The guy who freaked out recently.
Yeah, recently. What was that saying?
I don't remember. He was so he was a fan too, and I don't get why people like
just
hack
went crazy
my lineup.
that day.
Yeah, I was like, I don't either, dog. Like I had about 25, Mike too. Me and Mike used to create hella ideas. Me and Mike come up with 40 ideas. 36 of them would fail. Like huge failures, like disasters.
The ones that stuck. The ones that stuck were very
Hack
good.
My Lineup, the drafts, a couple other things worked. It was great. It was groundbreaking. Waiver wire was the first that one. That's the very first thing we did was waiver wire. Yeah, and that's that's of course. That's basic though, and but we had a ton of we had a clothing line, like that was stupid. We did a bunch, but we learned doing the clothing line.
I forgot about the
How much did we learn though, Mike? How much did we learn? You learned so much. Trust me, when you put $1,800 in clothes and boxes and no one's buying them, you learn a lot. And the last time we did that, we broke even, which was huge feat. I mean, we had to kick and crawl. Like we had to come up with some weird stuff, but we learned a lot.
What about that URL you bought or that we went? What was that
fantasy
URL?
gear?
No. It was like how to play fantasy football.
I use that still live, bro.
Oh, I know. That's funny.
Nice.
It wasn't actually acquired that.
Yeah, I mean, like if I went back, would I have bought it from that guy? No. But that website, I mean, we sold courses. Like it was a cool, but as far as the dollar, it wasn't great. But I'd started a brand, and right, so it was all part of the brand of being a best-selling author.
True.
So how to play fantasy football. Number one, how to play fantasy football video online, and then how to play fantasyfootball.com website.
That's SEO, baby.
That's I was the how to play fantasy football guy. So I don't know how many courses I sold.
$19. What a steal.
Oh yeah,
all that knowledge.
All that just to draft the starting running back for the Bears. Always a mistake, basically.
Matt Forte?
Ever since Forte retired. Nah, this was after that. Forte was solid,
Yeah, he was good. I remember him.
We got Dak in the building. Yeah, so if you want to check out the last podcast, we covered quarterbacks, running backs, tight end, a little bit other positions. Today, we're going to really be focusing on wide receivers from a dynasty perspective. And Sushane has a little bit of advice for my ultimate sexy rebuild, which I'm very excited for. So he's going to do like a hack light on my dynasty lineup. But let's dive right into it, guys. We're talking 2024 NFL draft class. I'm going to let Sushane take it away.
Yeah, let's do it one last time, baby. One last time. It's been a wild ride. It's been very fun. A lot of good memories on here. And, every time talking Dynasty, we got the draft in, what is it, 2 weeks now? 1 week? I think it's 1 week away. My goodness. It's creeping up on me. But, like you said, we covered those key positions, quarterback, running backs, and tight ends. last week. We also covered offensive line, which was kind of like the main strength, the strongest position, in my opinion, of the class. Today, we are going to go over basically the rest, which are pretty strong positions. Real quick, though, if you remember last week, I gave you my big board top 5 players overall, regardless of position, or, you phrase it as if I was a blank GM, no team needs, I can just draft anyone. So I wanted to give you 6 through 10 real quick, just to really hammer in that point of how strong the offensive line, which we covered last week, is. We have Brock Bowers, the tight end, at 6 on my big board. And then 7 through 10 is all offensive linemen. Troy Fautanu, the guard tackle hybrid prospect from Washington, comes at 7. Talis Fuanga comes at 8. Olu Fashanu at 9, and JC Latham at 10. So that's my 6 through 10, and then 1 through 10 from last week. Real quick, Couch. I know receivers are really strong. We're going to cover that in a second. I know you guys are both 49ers fans, and, you guys are desperate for a corner as well. That's also a good class. But, man, just to really tell you how good 2024 is, it's really good at those key positions. But even at some of the weaker positions, like the specialists, kickers and punters, really good as well. There's a couple of kicker prospects who, maybe not for dynasty, but we all play in redraft leagues. Maybe not this year as far as drafting one of these guys, but maybe a couple years down the road, there'll be a couple of kicker prospects who get drafted this year. And then also they're saying that there's this one punter who's like the best prospect punter in the last 20 years or so. That's pretty exciting. So we'll see if he gets drafted, like round 4, round 5, some crazy stuff like that. His name is Torrey Taylor. That's really all I wanted to say about specialists, though. Again, before we go to receivers, that'll be the last thing we do. There's kind of a little bit of a debate between what class is stronger, between corners and pass rushers or defensive line. In my opinion, I think it's corners. Let me tell you why real quick. Without going super detailed into all of these guys, because again, we're a fantasy football show, and also even for IDP, corners are not really the best position. If you think about how good Sauce Gardner is, as an NFL player, he's really not great for IDP. That's because, if you're like a shutdown corner, you don't really get targeted a ton or targeted against a ton, which means you're not going to have opportunities to get points. Pretty simple, straightforward logic. You don't really want zeros from guys, and that's kind of what you get from shutdown corners like Sauce Gardner. But unfortunately, the NFL values that, right? So when we're talking about receivers, how many are going to get drafted? How strong is this class for, the first round at least? If corners are going to get drafted, that means that takes away from how many receivers, right? If you think about it, last week we said, 10 offensive linemen were going to get drafted? Maybe a couple guys, offensive tackles rather, and then a couple guys from the interior. So let's call it like 12, all right? We had the big 4 quarterbacks, okay? And then Brock Bowers. So what is that? So 12, 14, that'll be 15 guys left, basically. Okay, well, I'm thinking 5 corners will go in the first round. I'll list the names off just for those who are interested. It's Cooper DeJean. He's my top guy. I think he'd be a great fit for you 49ers fans. Quinyon Mitchell, Nate Wiggins, probably going to go really early in the draft. Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think all 5 of these guys will be first-round talents, okay? So that leaves us with 10 players left, okay? On top of that, for corners, we have those 5 guys in the first round, and then in the second round, there's going to be about 5 or 6 more guys as well. So it's a pretty deep class, right? I could move down a little bit now, Couch. We can talk about the defensive line and the edge or the pass rusher class. And it's kind of similar to the corners in that, we had 5 corners in the first round. I'm thinking as far as pass rushers go, we'll probably have 3, maybe 4. Okay, those guys are Leatu Latu, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, and then the 4th guy who might be in the first round would be Chop Robinson from Penn State. So again, now we have 10 players left. because again, offensive line, quarterbacks, Brock Bowers, and then 5 corners. We got 4 of these edge rushers, okay? And then I'll move on to defensive tackle. There's 2 guys there on the interior, Johnny Newton and Byron Murphy. Okay, well, now all of a sudden, we're getting really thin on receivers. We're getting really thin on how many receivers you can go in the first round because all of these guys at other positions are going into the first round. Just to give a little bit more information on the defensive line class. Again, I know it's very strong. I prefer corners, but this is a good class. It's also going to be better for IDP players as well, but you kind of want to focus on pass rushers, right? The reason why I should say is because pass rushers get sacks. Sacks are basically 6 points, like touchdowns, right? Not to say that defensive tackles are not good because those guys kind of stuff the run. They'll get tackles, which are definitely a good floor for points, right? You don't want to get zeros in fantasy football if you play IDP. You definitely want to get some points there, but you want to shoot for upside as well, right? So that's why I think the Latu character from UCLA is a really good fit for IDP, as well as some of the other pass rushers. But that's really about it for those classes, right? So if you think about it, we have 4 guys, maybe 5 for the pass rushers, 5 guys for the corners, and that kind of leaves us with maybe 4 to 5 spots left in the first round. And those, Couch, I think will all go to receiver. Now we can zoom in and we start getting into the meat and bones of this podcast here. So if there's 4 guys left, again, how am I getting to number 4? Let's review that. There's 32 picks in the first round. Yeah. 10 of them will be tackles, maybe add 2 more for offensive interior, like guards and centers. So that's 20 spots left. 4 quarterbacks, a tight end, that makes 15 remaining. 5 corners, that's 10. 6 defensive linemen. Now we got 4 receivers, or 4 picks remaining for 4 receivers.
But what you're also saying is there's going to be great receivers in like round 2, probably even round 3.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, also what I'm saying is also a little bit rough. Like, let's give me a hypothetical here where it's like, what if there's only 11 offensive linemen drafted, not 12? And then that kind of opens the door for like a 5th receiver, right? Or like a 5th, some other position, maybe a second tight end, which I don't think happens. But it opens the door for another position. I think it would be receiver, right? The cool thing is though, is I'm giving this number 4 a lot, and I think most people who've already done research on the receiver class, they kind of already know what 4 names they're going to be talking about. There's a top 3, I think, in everyone's mind: Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. And
where are we looking right now? Is this
looking at the top elite wide receiver trio? Right here at the top.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So look, first of all 3 of these guys are probably going to be taken in the top 10 of the NFL draft, which is amazing, which is great for us. That's awesome for Dynasty, especially nowadays where we are kind of steered towards wide receivers, not just because of longevity, but also because of kind of like the scoring and the roster settings, right? We're moving from 2 receivers to 3 wide receivers, start 3 wide receivers in a lineup. And of course, nowadays I would say 10 years ago, maybe when you started this channel, Couch, we were going 0 PPR. We would call it standard. You know what I mean? Standard, no PPR. And now it became half PPR and then slowly into 1 PPR. And now we're doing, all these funky things like tight end premium and tiered PPR. So basically the wide receiver position is just, become increasingly valuable. And now we basically hit, like, I don't want to say we've hit a peak at value for receivers, but they're worth a tremendous amount right now. And we have an insane class. So, it really doesn't matter to me how you rank these guys, in my opinion. Okay, I'll say my, as prospects without a landing spot, whatever you want to say, I would say my number 1 is Marvin Harrison, my number 2 is Neighbors, and my number 3 is Odunze. But, let's think about landing spot here, right? Let's say Marvin Harrison goes to the Cardinals with Kyler Murray. That's a pretty good situation. He's the de facto number 1 receiver there. I know they got Trey McBride, but they have no other, true wide receiver. Okay, good spot for Marvin Harrison. And let's say Rome Odunze goes to the Chargers. Justin Herbert, good QB. Rome Odunze probably in the same thing as Marvin, where he is the de facto number 1 wide receiver in a good offense. And then what if Malik Neighbors goes to the Giants? We've got Daniel Jones, not really a future plan at QB, not really a good roster, nothing really going there. I mean, that's a situation where I would probably rank Marvin Harrison and Odunze much higher than Neighbors for fantasy football, just because the situation is a little bit better. Similarly, let's say Neighbors and Odunze go to Arizona and the Chargers, and maybe Marvin Harrison goes to the Bears. Okay, well, the Bears are a good team, right? They got Caleb Williams, exciting at least. But you got to also think that, okay, well, they kind of have a lot of receivers, a lot of mouths to feed there already. So DJ Moore is there. Keenan Allen's old, but people are saying he can play for at least 1, maybe 2 years. It's still something, at least for dynasty. So that's not the ideal landing spot as far as immediate success, right? So it kind of depends on the landing spots as far as how you want to rank these guys. But I do think you don't want to pass on any of these 3 wide receivers, basically. Like, if you have the pick for a Marvin Harrison or even for a Rome Odunze, I don't think you want to pass up the chance unless you really need a quarterback and maybe J.J. McCarthy gets a good spot to the Minnesota Vikings or something like that, right? But these 2 receivers, if you can get them, walk out of the draft with these guys, you will be very, very happy. The 4th guy, kind of in a tier of his own, is Brian Thomas Jr. He goes to LSU, just like Malik Neighbors. So the reason why he's not as
Wait,
as
where are we? Right, we're
tier,
here. Where are we right
now? Go back up.
Oh,
Right
this guy.
Right there. Yeah.
What the heck's wrong with me? Yes, tier of his
All
own.
good.
Right here. Yes.
Tier of his
own
right here. Yeah. He has maybe even more upside than some of these guys, Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze. But it's a projection. It's a projection type thing, right? Like, I know, or I have more confidence that Odunze will be very good to great in the NFL, because I've seen it. I've seen more out of Odunze being great. Same with Neighbors. I've seen more out of Marvin Harrison on tape, right? Ryan Thomas is definitely more of the trig thing. It's definitely more of like he's shown some flashes. He can definitely do some stuff. Let's see what he can do. That type of stuff. Not going to get picked in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Definitely will be gone by number 20. So think of him as like a teens, 13 to 16, something like that in the NFL draft. Okay. I am hoping that the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs probably more unlikely, but the Bills definitely with the shot. I'm hoping that team trades up to get Brian Thomas. That would be great for fantasy football because we could use a really good landing spot for a really, really good receiver. If that doesn't happen, not the end of the world, because maybe those 2 teams draft your wide receiver 5. Okay. Now, I don't really care who you have at wide receiver 5. I have, let's call it a tier or a group of names, and I'll read them off for you. Adonai Mitchell from Texas, Xavier Legette from South Carolina, Xavier Worthy, he's the really fast 40-yard dash time from Texas as well, and then Troy Franklin from Oregon. Really don't care who you prefer or who you have as your 5th wide receiver. If the Bills get one of these guys in the late first round, or the Chiefs get one of these guys in the late first round, that is going to easily be my WR5 in fantasy football. And hey, maybe even if a guy like Brian Thomas gets a really, really bad landing spot or a tough break, and maybe the Bills draft Adonai Mitchell, hey, maybe Adonai Mitchell becomes my wide receiver 4, for example, right? So I would be a little bit flexible with these guys. I'm pretty confident though that you're going to see these 4 guys, one of these 4 guys drafted in round 1 to the Bills or the Chiefs if those teams do go the receiver route.
Well, Niners, do you think the Niners have a chance of drafting any of these guys with 31?
Okay, well, not that high, right? Would they draft a receiver at 30? What are they picking? 31 overall, right? They could. If they do, probably not. Just because Deebo Samuel's there, Brandon Ayuk is there. Well, if they're
For now,
yeah. If they're drafting a receiver at 31, then that means Ayuk is definitely on the move or something's up over there. So I guess that becomes a very interesting situation. That's a pretty good question, actually.
But your math, what's cool about the math though, is you're saying that it's nearly a lock that one of these 8 will be there 31.
Yeah, it's a lock, basically. Probably not one of the top 4, but definitely one of those next 4.
Yeah, and the Chiefs with Rashee Rice, I don't know what's up with him. He's going. What do you guys think he's going to prison? He's pretty screwed.
I don't think he's playing next year.
Yeah, so
prison,
minimum suspension. Yeah, probably jail.
Yeah, so he's not playing. So knowing that the guy's picking after you guys, the Niners picking 31, knowing that the team right below you guys 32 could use a Rashee Rice replacement. Because man, the Chiefs were kind of set. They got Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, then Rashee Rice goes and does that. Now we need a receiver again.
Yeah, exactly. And they can definitely pick one of these 4 guys. I know someone's saying bold take Troy Franklin isn't going late first round. That's not what I'm saying either. I'm saying, hey, one of these guys could go to the Bills or the Chiefs at that pick. And if that's who they draft, that's who I'm putting or penciling in as my wide receiver 5 of the class, just because of the landing spot and the opportunity. And again, the talent is pretty good here still, right? Just because these guys are the wide receiver 7 or the wide receiver 8 as a prospect, on these rankings does not mean they're bad at all. It's a pretty nice class.
This comment kind of sucks. This comment kind of sucks. What is this? You gotta, Louis, you gotta say, is Troy Franklin going super early or he's gonna fall?
Oh no, he would probably go most people are saying round 2. I would say.
I know, but that makes this not bold. It's not a bold take at all. It's like
the graphic says round 1 and 2. So
round 1.
Yeah, it's a very it's like the most average take possible.
Exactly right. It's like an average take.
That's what I mean. Now, if you said Troy Franklin's going even top 20,
top
that's much bolder.
Top 10. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean even top 20, then it's okay. That's like a team's gonna trade up and go get him. Or he's gonna go in round 3, or fall to the very end of round 2. That's bold. But saying he's not going at the end of the first.
Now, if I want to be bold, I do have something a little bit bold to say.
Okay, we're raising the temperature. We're adding some seasoning. Adding some seasoning. We started off we're assessing the big picture. Now we're going to be adding some seasoning. Maybe you might not like the spice level. Okay, we'll see. We're gonna see.
So those top 4 guys, I definitely want to walk away with, as if I got the draft pick for it, I want to definitely pick those guys. After that, and this even includes a Bills landing spot, I think I might just want to cash out. I think I'm down to trade Adonai Mitchell or Xavier Worthy or Leggett. And looking at the prices here, I can get a guy like Brandon Ayuk, who I know situation right now is a little bit fuzzy, but hey, let's see what happens. He's still a good player. He's definitely not going to be out of the league. And even if he does move teams, he's still going to be a good fantasy football asset. I know that for sure. Michael Pittman, good receiver, just got paid as well. T. Higgins, similar thing with Brandon Ayuk. Let's see what the situation is, but he's still a darn good player regardless. I think those are three very specific names that I would target in trades. Once those four receivers are gone, and maybe some quarterbacks, and Brock Bowers, of course, are gone in your fantasy rookie draft, someone really wants Xavier Legette. They got that rookie fever for Troy Franklin or Adonai Mitchell.
I have a real trade scenario. Would you trade 110 this year and a late second next year for Michael Pittman Jr.?
Yes, I would.
You would?
Absolutely. Wow. I think I would. I would, because 1.10 I know that's basically what I'm saying right now, right? 1.10 is exactly about one of these players. Maybe not Adonai Mitchell or the first guy who gets taken, but definitely like the second or third, one of these names that you see or that we've just covered here, right? And then that 25 late second for next year. I mean, first of all, the top end of the class is not very good as far as talking next year. And then the depth is also not impressive if the top end is not good, right? That's how it works. So that really that pick doesn't mean too much to me. So I'll just take Michael Pittman. I'll just cash out and do that. I like that idea.
Interesting.
I see the question. Thoughts on Ladd McConkey? We can actually move on to that next portion of the receiver class.
Yeah, just really quick, this one. I look like Dallas Braden. It's a
beard looks
beard game. Oh yeah.
Sure.
It's not that far off. Not that far off.
There's similarities here.
Yeah, it's not. Back to Ladd McConkey.
Yeah. So Ladd McConkey is in the next tier of receivers that we have here. It will be Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Malachi Corley, and Roman Wilson. I'll just stop there for now, and we'll cover these four. Okay, so I think these guys are all getting drafted in round 2 of the NFL draft. Again, those receivers are Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Malachi Corley, Roman Wilson. Okay. A little bit about them. Keon Coleman, he's like your 50-50 contested catch guy. Okay. Ladd McConkey, that was the question here. He's definitely your kind of precision route runner, slot type receiver. Malachi Corley is your yards after catch, your yak monster, little kind of jitterbug type. And then Roman Wilson is your slot receiver with really, really good speed. Okay. My thoughts on Ladd McConkey is kind of the same on my thoughts on all 4 of these guys. I'm anxious to see the landing spot, first of all, okay? But I am pretty certain that none of these guys are going to demand enough targets to be like a difference maker in fantasy football. Like, I know there's levels to this, right? Like, not everyone could be AJ Brown, but I don't want someone who's like, like a
Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy, exactly. I don't want like a Jerry Jeudy who's like, he's average, he's good, but he's not, he's not really moving the needle for me, right? So that's my worry with some of these guys. Maybe not all of them. Maybe one of these guys pop. Maybe Malachi Corley finds a really good situation. He excels in the league. But my concern is that these guys are really good at what they do, but in some ways, some of these players are a little bit one-dimensional. If you realize my summaries of them were pretty brief because that's really all they had going for them. Like for Keon Coleman, like he's really just a 50-50 contested catch type of player. He's not really a route runner. He's not really a speed guy. I mean, sure, he's got some size, but that's probably what comes with being good at, being a 50-50 ball type player, right? So it's kind of the same thing with all these guys. They're really one-dimensional, and they are all complementary players. They are all complementary skill sets where, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm thinking, all right, I've got my one over here. Let me use Ladd McConkey and this other guy and, try to do a little, draw some little route concept up and, see what I can do, get a little mismatch however the personnel was working on that side, right? So I like Lad. I think if he's in a good situation, if he's in, honestly, the bottom line is if he's in an offense where the quarterback can handle 2 receivers or more, I think I'm very interested. But Lad McConkey is not going to be a quote unquote number 1 guy at the next level. It's just not going to happen because his skill set's it doesn't scream that at all. That's just what it is.
I got this question. Lots is asking, are we liking the Panthers landing spot for one of the wide receivers in this draft? Short answer is no. There's a lot of risk with Bryce Young. I'm a fan and a believer, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of really good passing offenses. We got the Chiefs, we got the Bills, maybe the Bears this year. Justin Herbert needs weapons. We know he's sexy. The Falcons now they got Kirk Cousins. There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot. And, we got Bryce Young. Like I said, I like him, but that's just, that's purely like an opinion, speculation, guess at this point. He could be the next Kenny Pickett and Bryce Young and just suck. And so you're kind of, what's the odds that he's Kenny Pickett? Maybe like 60%, maybe higher. It's just how it is, whatever you may think or your opinion or, however much you like Bryce Young. And me and Sushane really did like Bryce Young a lot. We drafted him in 2 separate leagues. Or he wanted me to draft him in 1 league, and me and him co-own a league, and we drafted him in the other one. So in short, no, they just got Deontay Johnson, but it's not a death sentence. We got Adam Thielen, who's expired, right? He's like the milk that expired, but it hasn't passed a week. So what do? You still drink it, but I mean, it's about to be 7 days expired. So I mean,
right.
If you want to play it safe, like nowadays, I don't drink that milk. Right, back in the day, I drink it. Nowadays, I'm not drinking 5-day expired milk. I'm throwing it out. All right, get out of here. That's Adam Thielen. Now you got Deontay Johnson. Now one small bonus though, Sushane, they don't have any tight ends. So, and they don't have like amazing running back pass catchers. They got Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders, Raheem Blackshear, Mike Boone. Mike Boone's more like just like nothing. And they don't really have a tight end, so that can catch passes. So I get, if Bryce Young succeeds, I don't think it's the worst landing spot.
Yeah. Not the worst. Like you mentioned, Deontay Johnson is there. So again, it's one of those things where, okay, either you are betting on him if the Panthers do draft the receiver somewhat early, which would be in the 2nd round, probably. They have the 33rd overall pick, I think. So okay, you basically be betting on that guy to be more talented than Deontay Johnson to surpass him to be the number 1 option, or you're saying you're betting on Bryce Young and saying he could support 2 receivers in fantasy football. So either one of those things is a pretty big gamble, in my opinion.
Don't do it. That's all I have to say.
So all 3 of us don't love it. Don't love the landing spot.
Yeah.
He says he loves the Panthers' new head coach.
Well, I have to drop off real quick. Yeah, sorry, guys. But I just want to say it's my last sign off. Thanks to everybody who's supported us over the years. Love you guys, and see you around. But signing off.
On to the next chapter. Peace out.
On to the next chapter. Later, guys.
Adios, Mike. It's been a wild ride. But to the point of he likes the new offensive coordinator there. Canales, he comes from Tampa Bay. He kind of revitalized or helped Baker Mayfield turn it around. But I mean, understanding what was in place, what was already there for that offense. They had Chris Godwin, Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, these
guys that's
amazing.
No joke. He's done stuff no one's ever done.
Crazy, right? So I mean, I get that you like Canales, and so do I. He's awesome. I think he did a pretty good job there.
He's way better than the last guy. I'm gonna say it again. I was like, Sushane, I'm set on Bryce Young. One negative. I don't know about the coach. That guy's a fugazi, Frank Wright. I'm like he rode other people's coattails, and I'm very worried about. He's a faker. He's a fake. Maybe I'm wrong, but hey, he definitely was. He definitely sucks.
Right now, you
that guy sucks. Yeah, I mean, you look really good when you're running Philly, winning a Super Bowl against Tom Brady. But hey, turns out that wasn't really your offense. That was Doug Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
He was the brains.
I'm with you.
You want another question?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Richard, would you trade T. Higgins and DK Metcalf for one of the top 3 wide receivers? I would do it. I would do it.
If I can
Depends on the landing spot for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing, right? Don't trade for Malik Neighbors and the Giants. You don't want to do that.
But how he phrased it too, like he didn't say specific. He's like this tier, like. So as long as you're comfortable with, I definitely would, because what's up with the Seahawks? Like DK's situation is not that bad, but what's up with their quarterback though? Like it's not great. T. Higgins, I mean, God, man, I don't know anybody who won a championship last year with T. He was a bust though. I don't know. I think T. Higgins was like one of the biggest league losers.
No, he was
in
for
fantasy football. Like you couldn't even recover from, because people reached for him. A lot of drafts. Like I remember in the couch league, and I said it too. Like I know sometimes my analysis looks so stupid a year later, but I said it. I was like, and I was not the biggest Amon-Ra believer, but you know me. I'm like, bro, you can't like let this guy like not get drafted in round 2. He's not like it's people. He went and took T. Higgins and let Mike take Amon-Ra the second to last pick of the second round. Yeah, because Mike drafted Christian McCaffrey. So at 2.11, he took Amon-Ra, and I think at 210 or 209, whatever, T. Higgins went. And I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, that's just crazy. Like, I mean, I don't even know. Like, is any other wide receiver, like the number 2 wide receiver, get drafted that early? Like, what the heck?
No, and then on top of that, Joe Burrow gets hurt, and then both of them.
And he sucked. On top of it,
exactly.
He got hurt, and he sucked, and T. Higgins sucked. Like, it's just that was like one of the biggest league losers. You couldn't recover from that.
Yeah, that one was tough. I think I would if you can afford it though, because a lot of teams when they're trading up, they don't have enough assets to even build a full team. So if you can do that, DK, go for it for sure.
You think that's possible? A one for one trade? I don't think somebody would do it.
DK. He's saying 2 for 1. He's saying T and DK. So I'm saying if you can afford to
I just
do
can't read.
Yeah.
Dang. Oh, that's a heavy price.
Yeah, that's a heavy price, right? I mean, that's what's
I'm an idiot. I didn't even read for some. I thought he meant or. Oh,
no,
but
definitely not.
You're saying it's
if it's
so you're
1
saying
for 1, it's a smash.
So you're saying it's close, and if it works for your team, do it. Man, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot. I'd say it's definitely got to be the perfect situation, like Marvin Harrison, or maybe like the Chargers.
Yeah,
it's got to be. I got to be really confident. That's a tough one.
Couch, imagine if you're on the flip side of this, though. This is what you could ask for. Like, if you really want to be that trade sicko, you could ask for this type of stuff. You know what I mean?
2 starters right there. 2 good starters. Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. That is crazy.
It's a tough one, man, but that is definitely what it's going to cost you, for sure.
And let me say something good about Bryce Young, going back to our convo about wide receiver landing on the Panthers. Now, one reason why I am not totally off the Bryce Young bandwagon, and I have some faith, a lot of stats, and watching him play, he wasn't that horrible, but his supporting cast was. So he had the bad head coach, he had the bad O-line, he didn't really have anybody to throw to. I mean, what do they say? Rookie quarterback, so and so is his best friend. They could say tight end. That's just a phrase, but also like imagine if you had Marshall Faulk. Peyton Manning always talks about having Marshall Faulk. His first year helped him out a lot. Like he's smart, he's a head coach, he can catch. Like that stuff. He don't have that guy, right? He's got Miles Sanders. That was his RB1 the beginning of the year. It was Miles Sanders. So who got benched? Basically, he got replaced or he got demoted. Is the proper word? Like that's how bad it was. So Bryce Young, not horrible, but his supporting cast could be at the bottom of the line. Like it was bad, up there with the Giants. And the Giants had Saquon though. Like, that's a guy who has the ability to get you 7-9 catches in a game. So he definitely did not have Bryce Young definitely did not have Saquon. So that's why no emotion here. That's why I still have some faith with Bryce Young. Like he wasn't absolutely horrendous. His supporting cast was. Richard says, I already have Justin Jefferson and Chase already on my team. So this is a yes from you. Just going off what you said. It's a yes.
Do it. You got to do it,
guy,
man.
He's also got the other receiver on the Bengals, which is just.
I mean, that's fine because it's dynasty. Fine.
Yeah, but he's trying to make a move here. He's got Higgins and Chase. I mean,
dude, hold on. You would have Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and potentially Marvin Harrison. Dude, you have to do that. You have to do
that. Or whoever the Chargers take,
Sure, Malik Neighbors, whoever it is.
It's gonna be his number one guy to throw to. Justin Herbert's
Oh wow, what a roster. Hey, good for you. Good for you, Richard. You've built yourself one heck of a receiving core.
Nothing will ever get me over Mingo. Okay, this is just Panthers talk. Let's move on.
Yeah.
This guy's freaking out over the worst team in the NFL.
Carolina Panthers.
Hey, I'm a Niner fan. Okay, our plays matter. This was the biggest stage. This is talking about the most irrelevant team, a play from the most irrelevant team. Okay, dog.
Crazy.
All right, moving on.
The Panthers of all things.
Hey, he's a fan. It's all good. We're here to answer your questions.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But okay, yeah, let's move on. After these next receivers, over to the next tier here. Okay, so we have Ricky Pearsall, Jalen Polk, Devontae Walker, and Jalen McMillan. Same thing as the other guys. I don't think they are primary guys. Like, for example, Jalen Polk, I mean, I can really envision a scenario where I have him, again, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I've got my DK Metcalf or my AJ Brown or my whoever, my big bodied X receiver on one side, and now I can shift Jalen Polk into the slot or into the outside, the Z position, Y or Z, and kind of scheme things up that way. I mean, these guys really scream complementary players to me, not WR1s. I like them. So again, if we're in a situation where, maybe the Chiefs, they don't draft a receiver early, and instead they wait and they draft a guy like Jalen McMillan or Ricky Pearsall. Okay, I mean, I'm still interested because, I know Patrick Mahomes can handle Travis Kelce and another receiver, and maybe even potentially a third guy, at least on and off, right? So that's a situation where, okay, I could be interested because these guys are good enough, even though they're complementary weapons, if they have a situation like a Josh Allen throwing them or a Mahomes, something like that. Just want to reiterate one thing. People are saying this is a deep receiver class, which is true to an extent. Just keep in mind that we're already into the flex player tier as far as fantasy football upside.
Oh, it's true. I remember. What about last year? Just compare it to last year. Which is some recency bias, but I mean, we seen.
There's more names. There's definitely more names. More quality names for sure. More names you can actually draft, I think.
Last year was a surprise though. After the draft, Tank Dell, Puka, those are huge surprises. But just going into it.
Yeah, no, going into the draft, as you remember, I'll say two things. Number one, I was lower than most on the receiving class. Okay, I only had JSN as my only guy with a pure, round one NFL draft grade. There ended up being 4 guys going in the first round, but no one was picked until I think 19 or 20 was the first receiver. Okay, this year we're having 3 guys picked in the top 10, and that 4th guy, Brian Thomas, is definitely going before 20 overall, right? So right away you already have if JSN was everyone's wide receiver one last year, he's everyone's WR5 this year, maybe even lower than that, right? So there's definitely quality and quantity at the top. But I mean, after that, then it becomes more of that situation where it's like, okay, well, I mean, some people like Tank Dell last year. Some people like Puka, who was a little bit, more of a sleeper, later flyer type pick. That's kind of what we're starting to deal with now after those 4, 5, 6 names in the receiving class, right? So I know a lot of people are going to be excited. They're going to say, ooh, Devontae Walker, I got him. But again, not all of these guys will hit. And, I just wanted to reiterate this. Keep in mind, even NFL teams, not just us, but even NFL teams make really big mistakes, right? If as far as talking about huge swings, the Tennessee Titans, they moved A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks. That was a huge slap in the face. I mean, on the other hand, then you have a team like the Vikings who got off of Stephon Diggs, who's no longer on his team after that. And they got Justin Jefferson, who's one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in all of football, right? So it definitely works both ways, but just be careful here, right? Don't be falling in love with, every single guy just because people are saying, oh, it's a deep wide receiver class. Don't be thinking to yourself, all right, if I draft Pearsall and Polk and Walker and McMillan and just start hoarding these second-round rookie draft or third-round rookie draft picks for wide receivers, that it's going to pop like a Puka and a Tank Dell. It's not going to happen like that. It might for one guy or two guys, right? But there's still very much a luck factor in there that plays itself out. Just to round out the rest of the list here, I'll just say it for the audio listeners. I would say these are the only other guys that I would probably draft in my rookie fantasy football drafts. We're talking like 4 rounds or 5 rounds. Right now we're talking like the really deep guys. If I did not say their names today, more than likely I'm not interested, right? If the NFL proves me wrong and someone I didn't mention today gets drafted super highly in the NFL draft, okay, I will double check, see what's up there. But at this point, I think once I reveal these final names, this is it. This is the entire receiver class. Again, with these guys, go with landing spot only at this point. The talent level is a little bit there, but now we're not dealing with much. So now at this point, really start thinking about, okay, what type of opportunity does this guy have to get snaps and to get on the football field, get targets, because targets yield fantasy points. Okay, here we go. So we have a very popular name out of USC, Brendan Rice. He is the son of Jerry Rice. That's probably the biggest thing he's got going for him. Honestly, he's pretty average. Okay. Jermaine Burton, Luke McCaffrey, related to Christian McCaffrey, Jamari Thrash, Malik Washington, Javon Baker, Johnny Wilson, he's a giant, 6'7" or something like that, and Anais Smith, who some people call a running back, some people call a receiver. I'm going to stick him here as a receiver. That's basically it. That's basically the entire class, Couch. So again, just to reiterate, just to review, kind of take a big picture snapshot here. We have top 3 or maybe top 4, if you want to call it, however you want to do that. Then after that, we have this kind of like tier 2 where they're going late round 1, early round 2 of the NFL draft. And you really want to focus in on, hey, are the Buffalo Bills or are the Kansas City Chiefs drafting one of these guys? Which one in particular? And then, go from there. My advice would be to you, at this stage in the draft, if you're not getting one of those top 4 guys, cash out, go get yourself an Ayuk or a Pittman or a T. Higgins. There's other guys in that range as well, but these are 3 of my favorite buys. Even though T. Higgins has not been good as far as dynasty, that's part of the reason why I like him, right? It's the price of the player you can get him at. After that, these are players that people will fall in love with. I am recommending that you guys be careful with how much, how high or how much fever, how hot you guys get for these guys. But again, a lot of talented names keep in mind the situation. And then, of course, the final depth players, where, again, see if they have an opportunity to see the field.
You don't have
pretty much
any
the receiver class.
You don't have any big sleeper, like a guy that is just heavily underrated? You don't have any?
Sure. Let's see. I'm trying to think of who's a guy that I rank higher than most. I know a guy that I rank lower than most is Johnny Wilson, because he's kind of overrated. Honestly, I feel like it's Jalen Polk, which I kind of talked about why earlier. I would want to say Malachi Corley would be a sleeper, but a lot of people are kind of on that train as well, so it's no longer a.
I hear this guy's name a lot.
Yeah,
by the way.
right.
Yeah. So
He's good. Yeah.
This kind of happened to
the
Packers guy for
Reed?
for our community. Yeah, Jalen Reed, where we talked about him. He's a sleeper, and then the Packers go and get him early, and he ends up being solid too. So
I think here's what's happening, right? More people are getting more resources, and I think this year, especially more than most, I don't know if you've been seeing this or not, but a lot of people are getting like access to combine stuff and really up close and all this stuff and player interviews and whatever, and they're getting access to even more information and more data that they haven't before. So I think people are doing a better job as far as scouting these players, of how to tier these guys up, right? So again, Ricky Pearsall is a sleeper. This is the comment. Ricky Pearsall is a sleeper. I think round 3 with athleticism is crazy. I agree, right? But again, Couch, if you're asking me, hey, who do I think is a sleeper? And I said Ricky Pearsall, a lot of people are saying that as well, right? So Malachi Corley, a lot of people are saying that's a sleeper. Ricky Pearsall, a lot of people are saying that guy's a sleeper. I think for me, the one that I like, I don't want to say I like the most because I do like Corley way higher than these other guys. But I think the one that's very interesting to me as far as like a sleeper pick or a flyer or something would be Jalen Polk, just because I know I have an idea of how this guy could be used, a very clear picture of how could this guy be used successfully in an NFL offense, which again, not crazy for fantasy football, not like, top 5 receivers in all of fantasy, but definitely can give you some good weeks. I would say a lot of these guys are best ball players, actually, because the talent level is there to make a dent in the stat sheet, but being complimentary guys, the consistency to do it every week might not be there. All right. Should we piece it all together with the Empire, or how do we want to do this?
What was this? We didn't really look at this.
Yeah, this is me piecing everything together here if you want me to.
This is like my team.
Yeah, kind of.
I didn't even notice. Okay. Looks sexy.
In a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got little guidelines for me here, though. We're not being super specific, super locked in. Like, I don't want to say, Jaden Daniels is for sure the QB2, because, hey, if he goes to New England and Drake May goes to the Washington football team or Washington Commanders, I'm probably going to have Drake May ahead of Jaden Daniels just because the landing spot is that big.
I'm not.
You wouldn't?
I'm taking the Russian. I'm taking the Russian stats.
I guess maybe, but the Patriots are just a barren franchise right now. There's nothing going.
Yeah,
but
hey, I'm getting a lot of offers for that 103, and I'm basically saying no. I'm basically saying no. I don't know why I'd want to trade that.
Well, you need a quarterback. I know that.
I got Brock Purdy. I got Bryce Young, and I'm gonna get Caleb Williams for sure. So
yeah,
it's not bad. I think I'm just set on taking a QB, because I think that's gonna be my QB regardless. And after I do that, I think the price will still be high. I think I can still trade him after. I think I don't see anybody trading up there not to get him. That's just my opinion.
That's fair. I think what you're doing is the right strategy, which is basically, again, for those who do not know, he has the 1.01, the 1.02, and the 1.03 in the 2024 rookie draft. So the idea is, and again, this guy needs quarterback, needs receiver as well. Good class for both of those guys, right? So Couch is basically going to draft Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison and Jaden Daniels. And I'm cool with that. That's what I would recommend if you have the 1 through 3. I would say, let's say you're not Couch. Let's say you need one quarterback and you've got your Caleb Williams pick, but now you also need more receivers. I would be okay with taking, let's say Malik Neighbors goes to the Chargers and you really need a receiver and you have the 1.03. I'll be okay with taking Malik Neighbors over a quarterback who, again, we're really excited about these guys. And if you hit, it's a huge thing for your roster. Look at what CJ Stroud can do for your fantasy football team in 1 year. But there's also the risk, right? Quarterbacks, super high bust rate as far as first round picks and even just the position as a whole. Whereas
literally all the other quarterbacks. AR was incredible, but he got injured, and Bryce Young sucked. Titans all suck, and before that,
the entire class of Trevor Lawrence.
Trey Lance, Zach Wilson. After that, even Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett,
all those guys. Right. So there's so many unsuccess stories, right? So if you really need a receiver and you got the Chargers landing spot or something really good like that, I'm cool with it, right?
Would I do that or trade him for Puka? This is hype. It's not going to happen, but just to gauge where you're at.
I would honestly, this is going to sound crazy. I would actually rather draft Neighbors or Dunze. Wow. I think these guys are really good. Really, really good. Again, we're assuming that they have a good landing spot, right? Like, don't give me Daniel Jones or some crap team. But yeah,
or Patriots, let's say,
or Patriots, something like that, right? I will say this though, right? So let's assume Jaden Daniels is going to Washington, because I know there's some weird rumors that are going on now, but I think at this point that's just pure smoke screens. Everything we've been hearing is Jaden Daniels is going to Washington. So again, I like those two quarterbacks. I do think, Couch, that you've got to take the wide receiver 3, whoever it is, to whichever team. So now we can bring in the Giants landing spot. We can bring in the Patriots. We can bring in, being the Bears wide receiver 2 if they get picked at 9 overall. I think at this point, those 3 receivers are so good that even though quarterback is very valuable in Superflex, I think you just have to take the wide receiver 3 ahead of the quarterback 3 at this point, even if it's like, JJ McCarthy or Drake May to the Vikings, who's throwing to all those guys. I think the receiver 3 is
this is good. General, not specifically me. General.
Right. In general.
I was like, how do I do that?
You don't have these.
I was like, okay. You told
we'll come back to you. I know you have like what, the 109 or something. We're coming back. We're coming back around. But
do
just
I?
for
no. I got the 111.
Right? Yeah, 111. There it is. Yeah, I knew you had something.
I don't even know. You know better than me. I know I got I thought I had the 201. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
No, I don't have the 201.
You have the 202, 203, I think 208.
205.
Maybe
205.
205. And 208.
But look here. He accidentally did it today. It was an accident. And I don't think he's playing smokescreen. Gene wants a QB here. And I mean, you hear him talk.
I don't know if he's going to get one there.
All he talk. No, we talked. I said, bro, I was like, it ain't going to be a top 4. He's like, I know. Right. He's like, he knows. But all he talks about is quarterback. And he just told me his hand. He just showed me his hand. He just said, like, because he's like, I'm willing to trade down if there's a Q. It's like something. I'm like, bro, if you're gonna draft a quarterback, we don't need to trade. Just
yeah.
He just totally showed me.
He's gonna get the guy anyway. Right?
But there's no way he's lying, because I know Gene. He's not that type of guy to keep up like a charade for 2 years. Like he's so on it. He's not, okay, yeah, he's not gonna do that. And he just showed me his hand talking about all he talks about. I need a quarterback like that, like you're gonna change the world, bro. Like you're not getting a quarterback at 204 and winning the league. Like it's just it ain't gonna happen,
No.
bro. Like,
Bo Nix,
I'm
not
sorry. Like, I don't think you can find CJ Stroud at 204. Like,
hey man,
highly
if Michael Penix
unlikely.
is that guy, I'll be damned.
Oh my
All I
god.
can
Let's
say.
see who drafts it. I mean, he's got to win the starting job. I don't
Yeah.
know if he's gonna like. Is he gonna get drafted to a team that has him as a day one starter? Like that is.
Oh
I
boy,
don't.
I don't think so. I don't hope so. That would not be good
Yeah, I don't know,
at all.
man.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just general advice. If you have one of those, it would probably be like the 1.5,
And that
1.6,
totally makes
something
sense.
like that.
Totally makes sense. Especially one of these, at least one of these guys will get a good landing spot, probably.
Yeah, yeah. At least one. I'm hoping two. It's possible all three, which would be great. But definitely at least one for sure. Um, Couch, I know you are saying Jaden Daniels for the rushing upside. I am humming a different tune because this is where I'm going. I'm gonna die on this hill if I have to. I just think the Minnesota Vikings landing spot, if they move up for a guy in the top 5 or in the, one of these top 4 quarterbacks, I just think that landing spot is way better than the Patriots. Where, hey, look, I think Drake May is a better prospect than JJ McCarthy. But if you told me JJ is going to the Vikings and Drake May is going to the Patriots, I am telling you right now, I will have McCarthy higher because I know he can distribute at least. I'm not saying he'll be the next Brock Purdy or whatever like that, but he can, that's kind of the vision. Maybe he's got some
But
athleticism.
that's the only
something like that.
situation, though. It would be Vikings where I'd consider. This guy just asked about the Vikings. We talked about them probably at least 2 episodes, and this is the third. Yeah, I mean, you got Addison, Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson, and it's
loaded.
It's wild. It's wild, and the defense isn't that great. So it's like I get that. I'd probably still go Jaden Daniels.
Hey, that's cool, man. I mean, I get the rushing upside, and he has a huge arm. He can throw the ball deep with some accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a guy who can, at the end of the day, especially dynasty, like I don't know, like he can change a whole franchise. Like he's got that upside. Like there's a bunch of like okay quarterbacks, but like to me, like who's gonna win my league is like that type of guy. Like I feel like I have to take him no matter what at 3 overall.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that logic. Because rushing upside is you're not gonna find that with McCarthy or Drake May. Give the landing spot to the Vikings. Sure, that's great, but you're not going to get that type of rushing ability with either one of those QB prospects at either one of those landing spots. The interesting player, Couch, is Brock Bowers. Okay. The first thing I want to say is I'm definitely drafting Brock Bowers after the first 3 wide receivers. So I'm taking the first 3. I'm taking Rome. I'm taking Malik. I'm taking Marvin Harrison. And I'm waiting for all 3 of those guys to be off the board first before I even think about Brock Bowers. However, I am also taking Brock Bowers before the 4th wide receiver in the draft class.
Over Brian Thomas, even if he goes to the Bills?
Thomas. Even if he goes to the Bills, I think that's
Bills,
what I'm taking.
The Bills is like a home run, though. They need a wide receiver.
It is a home run.
So bad.
Man, you know what? Maybe that's the one scenario, the one asterisk where I'd say, okay, I'll take Brian Thomas to the Bills over Brock Bowers. But that's like the one you really got to thread that needle, honestly. Any other spot,
and we're talking non-tight end premium. So in tight end premium, you just I gotta take.
Oh, for sure, yeah. In
I want Brock Bowers. I want Brock Bowers in tight end premium.
We'll make a move.
Bad.
We'll make a move for sure.
Oh, we're gonna actually do it.
I'm gonna try to in the FFPC one.
Oh my god! If we do that and we win, wow, that'll
baby. Oh, baby. Yeah. But, if you are positioning yourself to draft Bowers in your dynasty league, okay, you probably need the latest, at the very latest, eighth overall, the 1.08.
In
If you get
Superflex?
in Superflex, that's probably the latest possible pick because this accounts for 4 quarterbacks going. Okay. I don't think there would be 5 quarterbacks drafted. We're talking NFL draft real quick
Well, this
in the
guy
first
said
like 10 to 12.
use check on crack. No, we said use check on roids, brother.
On roids.
Use check on crack. Hey, that might be good for 10 seconds, but I don't know.
Right.
I don't know after that. No, he said use check on roids, like,
On
and
roids,
not he just and he was talking like metaphorically on roids.
Yeah.
Like just a juiced up use check. How about that? Juiced up use
Juice.
check.
I love it.
Yeah.
Juice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a use check on crack. Give me that.
Hey man, I'm glad you like the comparison. For sure.
No, yeah, I'm very excited about Bowers. Very excited and very sad that I don't have a clear path to get him. Now, I could trade with Scope, but even if I go 108, I may not get him. That's the thing.
That's the whole thing. That's the latest.
He might go 107. Right. That's like a popular spot. 107
mm-hmm.
right here. Because right here we're gonna see 2 wide receivers, and maybe a quarterback. Yeah, I mean definitely a quarterback, whether it be Drake May. Well, probably Drake May, and then we'll see the other 2 wide receivers. So, 107 would be like a good spot. 107 or 108 is probably where Bowers would go in this non-tight end premium league.
And the problem is, if you have, let's say you have the 5th overall pick and you have a good receiver room, I mean, man, at that point, you're really saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to pass on a top 3 wide receiver for a tight end. I just would not do that. I think these top 3 receivers are really, really, really good to the point where, again, you do not want to pass these guys up if you have the opportunity to draft them, unless you're super desperate for a quarterback, because again, that's something that can change your fantasy football team overnight. That's basically about it as far as that tier of receivers go, or that tier of picks go. Then we have back to what you have in the Couch Empire League. Now we're talking the back half of the first round. Okay. So these first 8 players are pretty much set in some order within those tiers. Again, those 8 players are going to be Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, JJ McCarthy. Those are 4 QBs in some order. 3 wide receivers. You got Rome, Malik, and Marvin Harrison. And then the tight end, Brock Bowers. Okay. Brian Thomas Jr., honorary mention as your 9th guy, especially if he goes to the Buffalo Bills. Let's say he doesn't. Let's say, for example, Brian Thomas goes to let's say the Broncos at 12 overall or 13, wherever they pick. Let's say they do not go quarterback. Maybe they trade down, or maybe they just simply pick a wide receiver because they got rid of Jerry Jeudy, right? So they kind of have a void there. And they go with Brian Thomas. And then Buffalo picks a guy like Adonai Mitchell. That's my wide receiver 5, for sure. That would be the 10th overall pick, in my opinion. Better than the RB1. Better than whatever Bo Nix or Michael Penix draft spot, or even Spencer Rattler that gets taken. And the same thing can be true with the Kansas City Chiefs if they were to take a guy like, let's say, Troy Franklin or Xavier Worthy in the first round of the NFL draft. Okay? So if those things happen, that would give us a total of 11 guys. Okay? Which, again, most of us play in 12-team leagues. So that's almost the first round. We have 1 pick left. And that's where, again, it gets, for me, pretty dicey. Last week, if you remember, we said, Jonathan Brooks to the Dallas Cowboys. He's the top running back prospect for me. 1.12 would be the earliest I'd take him if he gets a good landing spot in draft capital with the Cowboys, but I would not feel good about it, right? If I'm Gene, we talked about Gene in this league who picks 2.04. If I'm super desperate for a quarterback, is the 1.12 a spot that I trade up for? Let's say, I know you pick at 2.2 and 2.3 couch and you don't need a quarterback, but let's just say hypothetically that the guy picking at 2-1, I think that's Cisco. Let's just say hypothetically that he needs a quarterback. And now Gene needs a quarterback. And he's not getting a top 4 guy anymore, but he needs a quarterback. Is this a situation where you trade up to the 1.12 and get a guy like Michael Penix or Bo Nix, right? So that 1.12 to me is kind of like a flex, kind of like a to be determined spot, but in a bad way. Because I don't think that you're getting a player that's going to be conducive to you in fantasy football. So Couch, considering that you have the 1.11, to me, that's a pretty good sign because that kind of guarantees that at least you're getting something, quote unquote, legit. You really want to hope that Brian Thomas does not go to the Bills. And you also want to hope that the Bills and the Chiefs both draft a receiver because then you can just keep the 111. You can just draft the best guy available and you're all set and you're all done. The problem comes in with the more realistic scenario, which is either the Bills move up for Brian Thomas or one of those two teams, Bills or Chiefs, does not draft a receiver, okay? Because now all of a sudden the 1.11 becomes that kind of flex spot that you don't want, right? So my advice to you is I would try to move up. I would try to move up now just a little bit, maybe move up to the 1.10, to the 1.9. If you can get to the 1.8, that'd be great, but I don't think that's terribly realistic. But if you can get to the 1.9, okay, then you're basically securing, no matter what, in the Empire League, you're securing the bag for a guy like Brian Thomas, or maybe
top
even
5 wide receiver. Top
4, top 5 wide receiver.
Maybe even top 4, yeah. Depending on your how you think about it.
Exactly. Right. And maybe you're even in the running, not a guarantee, but you have a chance for Brock Bowers.
Yeah, small chance, yeah.
Small chance.
Because you're not picking here as of now. You don't have now. You said hypothetical when you're talking about Gene like 10 times, but it's not hypothetical. And I solved a riddle. I don't think you solved it, which is shocking because I'm like brain dead today. You didn't solve this. You didn't solve this riddle. Mike was on the podcast. He said, "Hey, I have a real trade question. Who's trying to ship Pittman everywhere? Who has the 10th pick?"
Oh, wow.
Oh, I solved the big one. Duh, this was an easy riddle to solve. This is an actual trade, and this guy who's, he's like a book. He's easy to read. He needs a quarterback. I declined to trade for Pittman. Now, he actually gave me a good trade. The calculator said no, and I don't really want Pittman on my team. I just want to build on this draft. So it just wasn't for me. He wanted me to trade a bunch of like medium picks for Pittman. I said, nah. I'm going to trade like 2 2s, a 3, and a 4. And I'm like, for Pittman, I'm like, nah. Like, even though it's a fine trade, like I just don't want, because look, I'm in line to get some of these receivers.
Oh, so yeah, for sure. I mean, keep building your team. That's what you're doing. That's your
strategy. Yeah, this is why I did it. Yeah, I could have got Pittman, or like this is why I did it, was to start. This is my turn. I invested heavily in this draft class. So Gene's trying to move up to 110. You just told Mike to do it, right? Didn't you say do it?
I did, because I thought that was a good offer for him on his side. He's getting, from his perspective, Michael Pittman. He needs a receiver. He's basically getting an assured thing.
Gene's going to take a QB here. That's 5 QBs.
Oh my God!
But Gene's desperate. He's so desperate, bro. And there's just no way 4 QBs don't go here. Now he might try to. Now I'm not saying Gene's an idiot. He might try to
move up again.
Move up again. Yeah. After that. to get
risky
better
business.
QB. That's
Sure.
hard though. He's already having trouble moving up, so I'm just gonna say like good chance he can't. So Gene's taking a QB here, and it's gonna be the 5th quarterback off the board probably.
That
Who knows? Maybe 6.
That helps your 111 for sure.
It's like me moving up one spot.
Yeah. Hold on. So now you have 5 quarterbacks, and you have 3 receivers and the tight end. Okay, so you would actually be. You would still need one of the Bills or the Chiefs to draft a receiver to be okay in the clear.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance one of these guys draft a QB before Gene. Like it really is. There's there's Penix fans and
oh yeah, for sure. And this league is definitely super QB favoring.
Every super flex.
No, I know this league more than most.
What?
Yeah, I would say so, man. The run last year was kind of crazy, or not last year. I think in 2021 was kind of crazy.
Which class is that? Was that Trevor?
That was the Mac Jones, where Mac Jones went like 10 overall or 11. That was just ridiculous to me.
What?
Man.
I thought he went even earlier. Yeah, he went
something like that. He was firmly in the first round, which was to me that was the earliest I've ever seen. I know Malik Willis. We have a legendary thing in our high stakes league. Okay, that's probably the worst quarterback rookie pick that I've ever seen. But you
saying this favors QBs more. I never really thought of it like. I mean, all Superflex Dynasty people go crazy for quarterback. I've never seen one where it's like, oh, these guys don't care about quarterbacks. I've never seen that. Like when we first had our draft, that's how it was. But that's ancient history. Times have changed. Like you're talking about like this draft class and people's knowledge is so different than 5 years ago. Right. Now it's like, we just how we started this podcast. Like how many people do dynasty fantasy content? Like it's an insane list. Before it's like you're like Googling like where can I find it? Like
where can I find it?
It's like, are you kidding me? Like it's like a standard thing now. Everyone's talking about dynasty fantasy football. It's so popular. It's a standard thing amongst people, hardcore fantasy competitors. Yeah. I feel like every league's like that. I don't know any Superflex Dynasty league where they don't. But I mean, if you're saying like this could be even more than the norm, then I don't know how. Look, Scott's trying to move up to 103. Okay, he's got the 105 and 108. I think he's got to take Jaden Daniels. I think that's what.
Yeah, he needs quarterback for sure.
Mm-hmm. He does. Okay, I don't know his teams. Tragic Mike was in convos with me trying to move up to the 103, and I told him like, look, basically, it's not for sale. Like I just pretty much told him that like I don't want to deal with like, and I'm so set. Like I'm just gonna take it.
Fair enough.
And me, it's more of a numbers. It's almost like I'm playing DFS here. Look, I'm gonna take 2 quarterbacks and Marvin Harrison, like future Hall of Fame wide receiver. So it's like the odds just say like that's the move to make.
Dude, you have Caleb, Bijan, and Marvin Harrison on one team. You're set. I mean, come on.
But that's not a decision. Point, right? It's not a decision. Yeah. I'm just saying this third pick is like the numbers just say like, hey, take a quarterback. Like,
well, don't you have to take a quarterback? I thought trade your down? Roster says you have to. Oh, I guess you could trade down, right?
What do you mean I have to? What do you mean I have to?
So you have Caleb Williams at 1.1, okay, and then I think your roster right now has Brock Purdy and Bryce Young.
I don't
know how reliable. I think you would.
What do you mean I have to? I don't understand like that. Like you're saying it like it's like as an auto.
I'm saying that more like I'm saying have to as in like you still need the position even after you draft Caleb Williams.
That is how I assess it too. As in like.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think I'm in good shape, but then you got to play the odds. How many quarterback busts have we seen? Like the most out of any position. Yeah, so
that's what you're saying. Yep.
Like I don't think I'm in bad. I think I'm in okay shape, but yes, I agree with that assessment. I mean, dude, we've all been screwed hard. Like when it comes to quarterbacks,
yeah.
If not here, there. Like Like probably like everybody has like because that's how it is. Like everybody has NFL
Fun
teams,
time.
like everybody. Like I drafted Trey Lance. That's my name. I'm probably gonna change my team name after this draft.
Oh yeah,
Like
please,
yeah,
please
like it
do.
was you know like that's why I'm drafting 2 QBs. Let's see the roster. Yeah, let me show you that. You have
Yeah,
to
show them
take
the roster.
Chargers or Cowboys RB, whoever is round 2 RB.
I
At
was actually going to ask you
111,
about that. I was going to ask you about your running back situation. We can assess that in a sec.
yeah, let
Pull
me
up the
show you
roster
guys
though.
the roster, which is thanks for someone who said that because I kind of now that I'm thinking, you guys are, you guys need to see this. So, um, let's go position by position. Quarterbacks, I
Yeah.
got Bryce Young, Brock Purdy, and then the rest is essentially scrubs. I have some guys. I don't want to confuse people by naming a bunch of people. So I got Bryce Young and Brock Purdy. For running backs, I got Bijan Robinson, Roshan. Oh, A Chain. There we go. That's a real
Mm-hmm.
one.
2 really good ones right there.
Jaleel McLaughlin, Elijah Mitchell. Nothing, nothing really good. So running backs, I got Bijan Robinson and A Chain, my 2 big guys.
Wow. Okay.
For
Wow.
wide
Wow. Wow.
receivers, I'm gonna name them all because it's messy. Mingo, Jamal Williams,
Jamison Williams, you mean?
Jamison Williams, Christian Watson, Justin Ross. I'm gonna drop. Tolbert. I'm
Jerry
gonna
Judy.
drop. Jerry Judy, Rondell Moore, Michael Wilson. Dang, that's
It's a lot of mid
horrible.
tier stuff. A lot of mid
That's
tier
why I
stuff.
need more. It's horrible. It's
That's all good.
horrible. I mean,
All good.
well, not absolutely horrible. Hold on. I got Demarius Douglas on Taxi Squad, Josh
Okay.
Downs on Taxi Squad. And keep in mind, I'm taking
Okay.
Marvin Harrison, Tim Patrick. And yeah, I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. and Christian Watson. Oof, a little disappointed. I was really high on him. And I think he's still going to be okay if he can stay healthy, but the Packers spread the ball too much. So lowered
Michael
expectations.
Wilson, he's fun. He's fun to root for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
So definitely
so
you need
the
some firepower at the receiver position. And yeah, it looks like your running backs are pretty good. You have 2 really good players there. Roshan is, I mean, he's young, but he's definitely not inadequate.
He's on my bench.
Wise,
He's
yeah,
on my
right,
bench.
right.
Yeah, it is
Depth
what it
wise,
is.
not great, but you have a lot of second round picks, right? So what I'm thinking is this. I'm thinking, let's assume Jonathan Brooks goes to the Dallas Cowboys in round 2 of the NFL draft, and it's a really good landing spot, and everyone's super excited, and it's a home run type of thing. I would say pass on him. I would say pass on him at the 111. I would say you need to use this 111 on receiver. Because, okay, you'd have Marvin Harrison as your 1. Great. Awesome. But even with that, like now you're talking like Christian Watson is your 2 or Jerry Judy is your 2. Like that's not going to cut it, man. It's not going to do it, right? So you need to ensure yourself that you get the Buffalo Bills future guy, for example. Or if that doesn't happen, can you trade up and get a guy like Brian Thomas, even if he goes to the team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, for instance? Because why am I saying that? Because Brian Thomas has the talent at least to be the quote unquote number 1 guy and get enough targets to be, a difference maker in fantasy football, right? So you really need to focus in somehow, some way at receiver at the 111. Again, my advice to you probably be trade up just so you can secure that thing. But then you have these extra second round picks. Okay, we talked about running backs. We talked about like, hey, Jonathan Brooks, he's my number 1 guy. But there's other players here too, right? Like I talked to you about Trey Benson, how he was kind of similar to Devon Achane in the sense that he's like a home run threat. And I told you how that kind of prototype is a little bit successful, at least, maybe not being a quote unquote bell cow, but for fantasy football, it really translates on the field to fantasy points. And then we have Jalen Wright, who's like a do-it-all guy, complete skill set. So he could definitely see the field, get more opportunities than more of these other running backs who are kind of pigeonholed. Maybe this guy's only like a goal line back, or maybe this guy's only like a third down pass catching type of guy, right? So I mean, you have some options there, and you have some picks. So let's say you need to trade up, to get that Brian Thomas. Okay, you could use the 2.03, for example, and move up with the 111. Then you still have 3 other second round picks. You already have 2 really good established running backs on your team, Bijan and HN. You could use one of those second rounders, get you a top 3 RB in 2024. And then you're still left with a couple more to build those receiver, that receiver depth. You'd probably end up with guys, if you were to just make picks, you'd probably end up with guys like a Jerry Jeudy or like another Christian Watson, right? But hey, maybe one of those guys this time around actually does pop and becomes maybe not a Puka, but a guy like Tank Dell or something like that, right? So that's basically what I recommend.
Best round tier. 2 is this tier right here.
Yeah. Yeah. The Keon Coleman's, the Malachi Corleys, those are some of my favorite guys there. That's basically what you're looking at.
Let's be realistic. Let's say the Cowboys take who's the best running back in this class?
To me, it's Jonathan Brooks from Texas.
Let's say you take Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah.
It's very likely he'll go like top 9 in this draft, right?
He beat everyone's RB1 with significant distance between him and the second guy.
Yeah. So I mean, I think people would take him like around where Bowers is going.
Okay, I could buy that.
I'm asking. I mean, didn't you say that?
No, I would. I believe
like
that. Yeah.
It just takes one guy, right? Yeah. But so realistic. So, but that's what I was saying when you were talking about what I do. Let's say I stay put at 111. I'm scared because if the Cowboys stud running back falls to me, that means that a lot, like all these good guys are going before me. You know what I mean? But if he gets taken earlier, and Gene takes a quarterback, now I'm getting a top 5 wide receiver guaranteed. It could be even top 4 somehow, or maybe even Bowers, which, by the way, I have Freiermuth and Michael Mayer and Juwan Johnson. So a tight end, I'm not looking horrible, but I honestly think I'm not going to win a championship unless Michael Mayer takes a huge step forward, which I'm still a fan of, but there's risk. If that doesn't happen, I don't think I think you need a tight end. I think you need a top 5, 6 tight end to win. You can do it with top 7, top 8. If your team's got to be amazing to win. With the top 8 tight end. But if you got a top 5, top 6, you can do it. Like, and I don't think I'm there yet. So, but Bowers would definitely bring me there or help me. So, yeah, that's scary at 111. But like I said, bro, I think Mike's gonna do that trade, and I think Gene's gonna take a QB. Gene, that's all you see him talk, right? Like that's all he talks about. I want a quarterback, but I need a quarterback, but I need like he feels like entitled, or like, dude, no one cares. No one's like gonna like. Here's a quarterback and here's the trophy, Gene. Like I feel like he's talking like that, like.
Yeah, it's all I hear, man. I have a whole complete roster, but not a single quarterback.
Yeah, he's got a ton of tier 2 other than QB. He's got a ton of tier 2 players, like tier 2 as in like good, just not.
He's got Drake London and Pittman, and a lot of good players.
They're all tier 2, like all pretty good players. Like he's got a good roster, not like the best, not the easiest players to trade. Not the super sexy names, but he's got good players, no quarterback, and it's all he talks about is getting a quarterback. Like that's gonna help him win. I mean, anything's possible. Last year was a mess, so I guess it is possible. I don't think he's ready to win a championship, but
no, I don't think so either. He's got to rebuild or somehow figure out QB, get lucky, and get
with the QB. He's a playoff team. I don't think he's the champion.
Oh yeah, for sure. But he has nothing. He's got no QBs. That's an issue. Huge issue.
Does he really have 0?
He's got no starting quarterbacks right now. It's crazy. And it's a good team elsewhere.
Are you serious? Aiden O'Connell?
Like, yeah.
Bro, that's so garbage. Mac Jones,
got Cooper
Ritter.
Like, yeah, dude.
Dang, all 3 of them combined?
Yeah.
All 3 of them combined, I'd say, is one like low end QB too.
Maybe. Maybe. I'd rather keep the low end QB2.
Top
man.
25, like the 20. Yeah, it's
The 25th
so
guy.
because even like Aiden O'Connell, like we don't hate him, but he's not putting up fantasy points. Like he's looking really bad. Like
He might not even be the long term guy.
oh, Sam Howell, he's got Sam Howell. Sam Howell's on Seattle. Oh my
Also not a
god.
starter.
I
Yep.
didn't even know that. I know he got shipped, but I didn't even know he was on
Seattle.
Seattle. That's so crazy. He's gonna compete with Geno Smith. I mean, not like a full on competition, but he's got
He'll
like
be
at
the
least a
backup
little
to
bit.
Geno Smith. Okay.
Yeah, but he's got a little
Right.
bit of like I can see a path where he starts this year, possible is what I
Okay.
mean, like a realistic path. It's not like Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers last year, like where
Right.
like I'm gonna take you under my wing, rookie. Like you suck. Like I think there's a little bit of a path where he could play. He's definitely. I mean, obviously he's the backup.
Well, Gene needs that type of luck for sure. Otherwise,
Yeah.
he's 2-0.
He needs Sam Howell to be awesome and Geno Smith to go back to being the Jets Geno
The
Smith.
old Geno.
The good old Geno.
Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. But hey, I think you're in pretty good shape here. You also have first round picks next year.
And in
I'm not gonna go heavy in
2026.
that class. Oh yeah,
And in 2026. I've been just
big class there. Yeah.
just stacking.
Big
I know
one.
like Gene or somebody was like, I'll give you a first, but all I got is 2025. I'm like, I'll take it, I guess. Let's go. Let's get this
done. So this year, focus on building your receivers and of course, finding those quarterbacks. Yeah.
Should I take a running back next year?
Yes.
That's what I do,
That's
huh?
what you wanna do.
That's what you're saying. Here, I'd be playing kind of catch up, right? Going to get my running back when it's not most amazing value.
Yeah.
But next year, when there's not a lot going on, I can a running back will probably just fall on my lap naturally when I got multiple first round picks. Like with that, if I just chilled,
player.
I'll get a good running back if I just stayed put. Because I got 3 first round picks. One of them is going to be high. Like it's just going to happen. Okay.
Now you're speaking my language, Couch.
I'm thinking big picture.
Yep.
Because you got me stressing with this 111 because it's like, man, I can get an amazing player or maybe not. It's like, oh, I might be right out of the tier. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
So this you're saying sucks, huh? 112.
That's what I think.
That's kind of that's such
unless,
you called it flex. I called this limbo, huh? Limbo.
Yeah.
Unless, this is all assessments.
Bo Nix is going or something, or Michael Penix, or something ridiculous happens, right? But
this guy's taking
in a kosher draft. Yeah.
This I'm gonna call limbo. This is we're talking limbo here. 112, 201, maybe. Yeah. That's limbo, like okay. And
no
then
man's
here I'm
land.
and then here mid second round, I'm taking probably more wide receivers. Oh, maybe a running back, possibly here, one running back, and then more wide receivers.
Definitely. No tight end. Don't take any tight ends. Don't think about tight end.
Yeah.
Tight end too, because Bowers will be gone, right?
Yeah. Well, Bowers. Well, I'm taking him 111 probably if he's there.
Yeah.
I know I won't have a lot of depth, but I'll be like, dude, I got Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. That's just like me getting Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. Like, I feel so. I'm like, damn, man, I got 2, and they're 2 like different tight ends too, huh? We're talking real NFL. Mayer, very traditional, like extreme, like most traditional tight end. Then you got Brock Bowers, who is Kyle Juszczyk on crack.
On crack.
No. Kyle Juszczyk on juice. Yeah. Juice on juice.
Love it. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun and rooting. You're gonna draft some good players. You're gonna be rooting for some good players, and you're gonna have fun doing both of those things. When do you plan on having this draft? Sometime over summer, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but mentioned on the last episode, guys, I do plan after I fully retire, I'm gonna upload a couple videos to the main channel as a send-off, like a proper send-off. It'll be dope, highly anticipated videos. After that, I will probably use the channel as a journal or diary, however you want to say it, or like just a personal vlog. Like I'm not trying to go out of my way to entertain and edit videos, but essentially what I'm getting at, I will probably be live streaming / recording some of the drafts, or most of them, or all of them. And so that one I do plan on recording.
Nice.
I would live stream it, but I don't want to be on a video or something. Someone cusses or says something, or someone does something like, I'm not responsible for all 12 of these guys, so I'll probably record it, minimal edit, upload it. So, I'm still going to be recording. I plan on recording or live streaming a lot of my drafts, and that'll be on the main channel. So, guys, if you want to watch, it'll still be here. I'll probably, tweet it out too. I'm just not going to be doing this like on a professional level is all. So I'll still probably use the Fantasy Couch account to let you guys know what's going on. Won't be answering questions on there, that's for sure. Remember one weekend, bro, I got 1,000 questions. Like, I think just on Twitter. This is like before, and this is like kind of before Instagram days. So like, there's really not a lot of 1,000 questions on Twitter.
I mean, at that point, you were one of the few guys doing this too. So,
yeah, that was before this blew up. That was way before the pandemic and all that. Like, so there wasn't really a lot of people doing it. Like 1,000 questions on Twitter. Like, it was crazy. So like, yeah, I'm like, I don't like reading anything. So, I love helping people out, but it gets too much. It's like when you answer, I could have maybe answered 1 million questions. Like, it's like, all right, man. So it's kind of cool to take a break. I love all you guys though, and I wish you guys all the best of luck in fantasy. From here on out, I'm just, a competitor from you guys, and on occasion I'll be letting you know how it's going on, how it's going in my leagues. The other dynasty league is pretty awesome. You guys see me draft my team on a video, and that was the day my book went bestseller, and I hopped on the video. Yep. I drafted Patrick Mahomes as a rookie, second year, George Kittle as a young player, Saquon as a rookie, first overall, and I have all those guys on my team still. And I finally won a championship. So, it's cool, and I'll be giving you guys updates. But thank you guys so much. And hey, look, get her done. We just got him in the league. It was also, he always would ask us, hey, you got a dynasty league? Got a dynasty league? This guy always asked. He's like, man, I play with some, subpar players like this and that. It'd be cool to get a dope league. Hey, somebody quit that. And that's the league I'm talking about, that somebody quit that league, and Get Her Done finally responded to my DMs.
Oh, nice.
And he got in the league. Okay. Yeah, he got in the league.
That's dope. Nice. Okay.
So congrats, Get Her Done. You got in the original Couch Dynasty League. Richard says, you have won me so many championships. I really appreciate you and everything. Well, hey, man, thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Couch, my first thing with you is this is before I hopped on the podcast, before the pandemic. I was playing redraft. This is before the Dynasty J Trader was even Dynasty footballing. It was your start sit, your hack my lineups. I would leave a comment. I was one of those guys who I'll leave very few comments, in the hopes that, I would try to time it up right to where like you would answer it. I wouldn't be commenting while you were like in the middle of drafting your wild pitch or pick, or you're doing something else. So I would try to time it right to get it answered, right? Get my question answered. And basically I got enough start sits answered that year where I ended up going 13-0.
13, and you won a ship, right?
And I won the ship, yeah. So
that story would be so crappy if you didn't win the ship. I'm like, don't tell me. It was great story. Great story. Yes.
It was not a Patriot situation. So I didn't lose a single game that year. Redraft league, not dynasty, right? So not the same dynamic as far as the long-term competition ramifications and that stuff. But hey, nevertheless, very impressive. And, I definitely owe a lot of that to you and your decisions. So I can relate to Richard when he says you have won me so many championships. I can definitely point to at least that one specifically that you definitely had a lot to do with. So I thank you for that. And on top of that, of course, thank you for, letting me be a part of this podcast. It's been a wild and fun ride these last couple of years. Just talking ball, talking dynasty. Not even talking just fantasy football. Sometimes we talk real football, and sometimes we would just talk just regular banter about really just anything, life in general.
movie
and stuff like
recommendation.
that. Movie recommendations and all that
I
stuff,
love
right?
film. I'm
Oh
a
yeah.
film, I graduated from film school. I love movies. Like
Oh yeah.
that's
Oh yeah.
what got the inspiration to do the couch. It was never like, oh, we wrote a lot of articles, but it was never like let's write art. It was like let's do a show. Like it was all about, that's the
For sure.
inspiration was films and TV shows and ESPN, back in the old ESPN. We started this 15 years ago,
Yeah,
guys. Yeah, we're
exactly.
talking
Good stuff,
not this
bro.
like weird thing that's like desperate and everybody hates. No,
No.
I'm talking 15 years ago. That was it. There was nothing else. I mean, Sports Illustrated magazine, but that that was just a magazine. ESPN was it.
Oh
That
yeah.
was
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Now it's
Height of its power.
garbage. Yeah.
Totally gone.
Well, it's been great, guys. Appreciate you again. We'll be on the main channel. Thank you guys so much. And we're gonna end it there. Peace.
Signing off. One last time, baby.